Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I am Dr. Claudia Albers, Planet X research and professional physicist. And today I'd like to bring to you another one of my articles. This one is entitled Planet X and Spherical Stones Found All Over the World. Now, stone spheres ranging in size from a few inches to 2 meters in height, and that's 6.6 feet, have been found all over the world. One with a 10-foot diameter has been found in Bosnia. Some of the stones seem to be made of igneous or volcanic rock and others of sandstone. Some have been weathered by wind and rain, but it is still possible to see that they were spherical initially. Now, where do they come from? And you can see some photographs of these stones. This is the one found in Bosnia. It seems to have a very high iron content. And these ones are in New Zealand, these ones in Mexico, and these ones in Costa Rica. You can see they come in different sizes, many different sizes, but they're all perfectly spherical. Some people believe that the stones were carved by men thousands of years ago. When I first learned of the stones, I also thought that they had been artificially made, as I saw that they fractured along straight lines. I, however, discounted the possibility that they had been carved by the ocean, as rocks in rivers and in the ocean are eroded into rounded stones, but not perfectly spherical stones, as these stones are. You may look at article 289 entitled Stone Sphere 7 feet high found on island in Arctic. Now, some of the stones seem to originate from 1,400 years ago, and it is believed that they were carved at that time. But the fact that these stones have been found on Champ Island, which is in the Arctic, discounts that, as there would have been no one to do the carving in such a cold area of the world 1,400 years ago. And you can see these rocks here on that island. This is where the island is. This is Russia. It belongs to Russia. It's in the Arctic, middle of the Arctic. Now, another theory is that the stones were formed underground by nature, but this too is extremely unlikely, as river and ocean weather rocks into rounded but usually flattened shapes. And this is because of the gravitational field of the planet, which tends to pull down on the object, which then tends to settle in the most balanced position, which is with the longest side horizontal with respect to the surface. The same will occur with any rock formations, even when inside the ground. The planet's own gravity will have the effect of preventing the formation of anything which is perfectly spherical. In other words, gravity always provides an extra force on all matter within the Earth, which is in the direction of the center of the Earth, and which will thus prevent anything from becoming perfectly spherical. And this is illustrated here, how this stone is not in an equilibrium position or a balanced position. Gravity exerts a force on it, which will tend to cause it to either tumble until it's horizontal like that, or slide that way until it's also flat on the ground. So perfectly spherical formations are, however, likely when they originate outside of a planet's gravitational field, or because the formation occurred when the material was in free fall, i.e. in orbit around the planet or falling towards the surface of a planet. In this case, if material gets hot and melts and has sufficient gravitational energy, it will self-gravitate, i.e. it will turn into a perfect sphere, because gravity is spherically symmetric. As I have written in many previous articles, Planet X system stellar cores have been coming into the solar system for thousands of years, and have also been approaching the Earth for thousands of years. These objects often come in groups, with one large and several smaller objects in the group, but each of the spherical objects were once celestial objects. The largest were once stars, and the smaller ones were once planets or moons. All of these are now made up of the core of the original object and the debris field surrounding it. When these objects approach Earth, the debris, a large portion of which is in the form of dust, enters the atmosphere. These objects are dead and thus energy depleted, which makes them low gravitational influence objects. They absorb energy in the form of light or photons, which then increases their ability to interact gravitationally. And this illustrates what occurs how an object changes from a living celestial object, star, planet, or moon, with a living core which generates energy through radioactive decay, into a dead object which is made up of its original core but now not generating energy anymore, or it may generate a tiny amount. They will still have some gravitational energy, the core will have. The debris is the outer layers of the material. It's now turned into a debris field, and this material will be extremely low in energy, so not influenced by gravity whatsoever, until they absorb some energy in the form of light or photons. You may look at Article 455 for more details. However, as a stellar core makes contact with the Earth's atmosphere, large electric discharges will occur. This is because these objects are low in electrons, and the Earth's outer layers are high in electrons. So a huge quantity of electrons will flow from the Earth's outer layers to the stellar cores. This creates a huge amount of heat and transfers a lot of gravitational energy into the objects and the debris field, which is in the path of the discharge. The debris pieces and dust, upon suddenly receiving gravitational energy and heating to the point that they melt, self-gravitate into spheres of several sizes, and now being responsive to the Earth's gravitational field, fall through the Earth's atmosphere to the surface. They are likely to be on fire as they streak through the atmosphere and will thus look like meteorites. But they may still be low enough in gravitational energy that their descent through the atmosphere is slow, so that they don't break up on impact, and thus the Earth gains many spherical stones made out of Planet X dust. And this is illustrated here. You start with a stellar core surrounded by its debris field. Discharges occur then between the stellar core and the Earth, and any of the debris that's in the path of the electric discharges will gain energy and electrons as well, and it may become molten and thus become igneous rock. It may just not get to the molten state, but if it's dust, it may condense into a sphere anyway, which will then seem to be made out of sandstone. And it will then streak through the atmosphere, fall through the atmosphere, but may fall slowly enough so that when it hits the ground, it actually comes down as for a soft landing, basically, and so it doesn't break up on impact. And it will then gain energy through direct contact with the Earth and become just like another piece of rock on the Earth. This will cause Planet X debris to fall through the atmosphere as smoldering spheres. They may be observed as a meteorite shower, but will travel slowly through the atmosphere, since they may still be low in gravitational energy and thus land intact. A good term to describe them may be hail from space or fireballs from space. This would also explain why the stones are made of different materials and why the largest one found so far in Bosnia appears to have high iron content. The largest meteorites also have high iron content. Meteorites are most likely Planet X debris as well, but enter the atmosphere without having melted, so they retain their irregular shape. These spheres are sometimes hollow. This would be due to gravity being away with a central minimum, thus causing self-gravitating objects to sometimes form with hollow centers. And you may look at Article 437 entitled Planet X Reveals What the Moon's Tidal Wave Looks Like. In conclusion, the most likely explanation for the existence of perfectly spherical stones all over the world, including in the Arctic, is that these are Planet X system stellar core debris, which were in the electric discharge region between the cores and the Earth, and thus quickly absorbed energy, became molten, thus self-gravitating into spheres before entering the atmosphere. Still low in gravitational energy, they will however land intact instead of breaking up upon impact. Those are the references. This is Dr. Claudia Albers, Planet X physicist. Thank you for watching.